and give you my idea of a seminar. So instead of me just giving everybody a workout, I would like to teach people a little bit about my style and what we do. So it's a little bit about learning up here for this seminar rather than a very physical workout. Perfect. Okay, so we will get started. So today, when we're doing our exercises, I would just like people to think of the why. Why are we doing these things? So not just, as I said, giving a general workout. It's more about what do we do this for, and it's very, very important. So as we go along, I will try to explain some things. Of course, I'll keep it short for you, Savo and Gustavo, so you don't have too much work to do. But I hope everybody will get the idea. Okay, Jared, can you? Okay, let's begin. So just lift your knee to your chest and then kick. So 1 and 2. And we do this as we bounce, okay? So on the toes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, this time we're just going to lift the knees, so maybe knee level. Okay, so just up this way. And relax. Okay. This time I want you to turn your body a little bit. So we're going to go Yop Chagi. Yop Chagi, so just here and drop. 1, 2, 3. Change. And relax. Okay, so the next, super. Okay, so the next one, we're going to kick with Yop Chagi, and I want you to focus on bringing your knee back to your chest. But you must jump to switch leg. So 1. Now jump. And this time, same thing, but you do it bouncing. Focus on keeping your knee position quite high. Knee position here is quite important. Okay, next, in my sparring classes I like to include tag. I don't know if you know what tag is, like touch and move. This is very important because it teaches us footwork, distance, timing, and making decisions. And of course, sparring is a very similar game to tag. Hit and don't get hit. For me, this is a great way to warm up, especially for sparring training. And you just touch the shoulder, move. But you're trying to win, not take turns. Show you. So the shoulder so just like this. If you're alone, you can just practice moving. So for the next one, we're going to include Yop Chagi. This one I call kicker against tricker. So some things that are very important here are keeping your foot to face the person. So you want to be this way, not this way. So this is no good. So it should be your foot between you and your partner, not your shin. So practice on keeping the foot between you and them. And if you have a partner, one person tries to tag on the belt, and the other person can touch the top of the head. So for this exercise, it's very important that when you're moving your standing foot, the foot that's on the floor, you just move it small little pieces but quickly. not this way. So it's not small and quickly. Also, I want you to focus on keeping your knee in a good position. So not down here. This is no good. The next exercise, again, if you have a partner, great. Okay, we're going to make Yop Chagi. Again, just to the belt, but as soon as I go, my partner is allowed to go, whenever they like. You cannot go backwards, so you must go sideways or angles with pivot. If you're alone, maybe you can just do very quickly moving, so drop and up, very quickly. If you have a partner, we can do it like this. Go backwards. Take a look at some flexibility, especially for Yop Chagi, okay? So we're going to go start in this position. One leg goes to the side, very straight. Toes will go up. So this position is the same as this position. I want you to turn to the side of your bent leg. And then bring your ear close to your knee.
1, 2, 10 veces. La punta del pie tiene que estar mirando para arriba y trabajar la parte de costado.
And the toes will be up on this foot.
Siempre tiene que estar para arriba la.
We will go this way. I'm going there.
En esta posición.
The heel must stay on the floor. And then switch side to side. So 1, 2, chest up.
Muy bien.
Very important that when we do stretching for kicking, that we try to replicate the kicking positions, so the same muscles. Especially for Yop Chagi, some people, their standing leg is the problem. So this leg that's on the floor is too tight, and then they won't get the flexibility on this leg. So next I'm going to show you one for this. So if you're alone, you can use your foot on the wall. If you have a partner, you can do it this way. So you hold your kick, and then you stretch to your hamstring. The standing leg.
So Richie, can you put earlier?
But because this is the start of the session, it's dynamic, so you want to go up and down. Maybe hold for 2 or 3 seconds.
Sí, tenemos que ir arriba y abajo por 1 o 2 segundos. Contamos arriba 2 segundos y abajo 2 segundos.
Change person, whatever you prefer.
Cambiamos de lado. Cambiamos de persona.
Yeah. So the standing leg is quite important, and a lot of time people forget about it. So all of these exercises can be done dynamically, where you're going through the range of motion, and then maybe towards the end of the session you can do statically with holding as well. Maybe if we have some time at the end, I will show you some of the exercises I like to expand the range at the end of the session. Super, so next I want to do some exercises for the chamber position, so the knee position, and your posture. For me, for sparring, I want to have my knee position in a good way. So if you have it this way and you don't have the strength here, it's not good. Same with here. Your posture is also important, so you want to be tall. There's 2 reasons for this, both of them. Number 1, we will talk about it later on. It's about when you have Yop Chagi, you must be on the top. So you must have the leg on the top. And the second piece is when you have good posture, you can carry your balance and your center of gravity with you, and it's also good for punching after you kick. Okay, so for this exercise, for me I use a beanbag, but you can use maybe a sock or something that you have, it doesn't matter, anything. So on the ITF, on your uniform, on your leg, you're going to tall posture here, and you hold, tall. So I like to do this as kind of like a game for people, so who can hold it the highest and the longest. Now I see some people, they have it this way. You must have it turned. And posture, tall body. And remember, the foot, not the shin. So for the next exercise, after this one, we're going to do an exercise with some kicks. Now we will do this with Yop Chagi. But again, we focus on tall body and the knee position. So also, if you have some people, some people here are coaches and instructors, you may have some people who lean. So for this exercise, you can put the beanbag on their head. You start at the belt level. So at the belt is level number 1. But every time you make a kick, the pad goes up, 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 up until you can't kick any higher. But you must focus on the knee. So you cannot kick this way. So you can't kick like this. You have to keep your leg up.
Sí, comenzamos con el nivel.
And up, up, up. So the knee will stay high.
Sí, cada vez vamos a levantarnos sin que la bolsa caiga de la cabeza.
And if you miss, you can change. If you're a beginner or a lower belt, maybe you need to use the wall. Much focused on the knee position and the body. So I see some people and their leg on the floor is not turned. So you have to make sure you have your standing foot turned. So you have to turn your leg. So for the next one, we're going to look at some strength, okay? So this one, it's a similar idea, but you must take the leg back to your chest. So like for tull or pattern, okay, correct side kick. So it's more this.
Sí, vamos a hacer la
So you
cada vez más alto.
can see knee to chest, knee to chest.
Recoge la rodilla al pecho. Recoge la rodilla al pecho siempre.
Good, and the last one should be tricky. You can also do this with your belt, so you can hold your belt. So next I want to just have a look at the standing foot to make it a little bit quicker and also some speed. Okay, so for this one, it's like a lunge. So you know, like a lunge. So you must set up your leg at the front to be turned like in Yop Chagi. So you need this foot here to be turned, and then this is your position. So you're going to push off this leg only. Do it slowly first.
Vamos a mostrar de forma lenta. Y pateo. Y pateo.
When we train speed, don't do lots of reps. So maybe 5 or 6, and then change to recover. Just on this piece for the Yop Chagi, and you can try again if you need to. I want you to just focus on, like Fernando said, of when you bring your leg and you must make 2 or 3 places, not to kick.
Sí.
Instead of kick, 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 I carry until I need to kick. So carry, 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 kick. The reason is,
Por la siguiente razón.
if she's here and she flicks,
Y estira la pierna.
the shin, there's no scores for the shin. But for me, I will go this way. So instead, like we said earlier, not the shin, the foot. So now if I come forward, she always has some protection. Then you can just carry it. So carry, 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 kick. So you push them and they must come to kick. So push, kick. So you carry your leg to the kick.
Y la siguiente dinámica. Le empujas a tu compañero y la otra persona tiene que venir con el Yop Chagi.
Do them, yeah. You can both do them, right?
Otro compañero.
Some things we need to remember from earlier is small quick steps, the knee position and the chamber, nice and high. Kick at the end. Some people are still doing Yop Chagi. So we want to kick, not flick. I don't know if that translates. So, not flick, kick. So kick, you don't have to bring it all the way to the chest, not like pattern. But here's okay, so here. Okay, super. So we'll do one more.
Vamos a hacer unas más.
Again, this is for this position here. Put your hands on the shoulder and you lift up the ready position of the kick. Just go this way.
Sí, va a colocar en la pierna,
You use the hand underneath.
en el hombro.
And then I want to push, and she must hold. So don't leave me get it to the floor.
Y yo le voy a poner para abajo y va a tener que soportar.
You have to work with your partner. Some people might be stronger, so you have to put enough resistance that it's difficult enough. The position of her body is just like sparring. So she has this hand turning to fix her posture.
Sí.
And then the knee comes up, and I push some pressure enough for her
¿Cuánto
to
la-
make it a challenge.
Sí, el desafío es aguantar la presión.
And she fights against me so it doesn't go down.
Sí, estamos peleando. Yo con las mis manos y ella con la rodilla.
So next I'm going to just move on to the sparring. So that's more of preparing your Yop Chagi and to develop the physical skills for Yop Chagi. So just before we move on to more sparring specific, does anybody have any questions or anything like that?
Pregunta, why is the base leg important for getting higher kicks?
Good question. So all of our body together is one chain put together. So you can't just pick one muscle to be flexible and then the rest are not. They work together as a unit. So that's why the standing leg here, if this hamstring is too tight, it pulls this chain closer together. So this will happen if this leg is tight. So to get this, you need this flexible also.
We have another question. How can we train hamstring flexibility?
Okay, so you can use some of the exercise we did earlier, like when your partner holds or you hold on the wall. Here. And then you go down. Here. So you're stretching your hamstring on this side. Of course we have leg swings as well for dynamic flexibility. Hopefully we have some time at the end and I can really cover the flexibility for expanding the range, because you need the dynamic range and the static range, and then in between that we need to be able to hold the range, which is something that we did there with the strength exercises.
What can I do against a side kick from taller opponent?
That is something that we're going to cover next, so that's the next thing I'm going to cover.
Is it always important while doing a side kick to keep the posture as tall as possible instead of keeping more the head up or out of reach?
Yeah, so it's very important to, if you want to do this for sparring specifically, it's important that you have your posture tall, because like we said, which is the next thing I will cover based on the last question, you want to be able to get your leg on the top to win. If your leg is on the bottom, you won't win. And if you lean, you have more chance of being on the bottom. So that's one thing. Then also the second thing is that if you lean too much, your center of gravity is behind you too far for you to move quickly, and your opponent will just move. So this is more difficult.
What is the best exercise to do kick higher? ¿Cuál es el mejor ejercicio para patear más alto?
So all of the exercises that we just did here is a combination of the things you need to know. So there is no magic drill or magic exercise. It's about knowing the information that we just talked about and then using all of your exercises to know how to do that. So the principles are more important. So the idea of keeping the knee position high, of forcing your body with equipment to go into positions that you want them to be in. Great. If anybody else has any more questions, you can just send me a message on TKD Coach Academy on anything, Facebook, Instagram, and I will answer the questions and we can move on. So I'm just going to talk about some principles here. So obviously people are training by themselves, and my belief is, especially at the high level of black belt, you can only do the physical work by yourself. So any real Taekwondo sparring training needs a partner. So because of this, I would like to teach you some principles and some ideas that you can learn rather than any exercise. So the first one that's very important with Yop Chagi, and it went in the question that we just had, is trying to be on the top. So you have two options to be on the top. Number one is your first. So you lift your leg before they lift their leg, and you're on the top. This is important because if I'm on the top, there's nothing she can do from here. But for me, I can push the hands, or I can have here. Okay, so that's the first way. To do that, you obviously need to be quick. So that's where we talk about the ideas of the foot position, moving quickly, short steps, and lifting before moving. So obviously for people at a high level, this will be something they already know, but for some people who are lower belts, I see some lower belts here, just make sure that you have this. This is most important when cycling.
Le puede servir mucho.
So just lift before you just hit your cycle first. So she lifts first.
Se estira
So she always then has the foot between me and her like we talked about earlier. So that covers the first way. So if you can get on top first by being faster or being first. That's what you need to do if you are against somebody who's, like the question, somebody who's taller than you and they have a good Yop Chagi, you must be faster or you must be first. If the leg is already up, it's too late. And this goes for punching as well, punching, kicking, anything. If their leg is already raised up, then your opportunity is gone. Now the only chance that you have is if you can interrupt the timing and the rhythm. Okay, we're going to talk about the second way. So this is for people who maybe not are so fast. Almost like a new technique in ITF, but you must be careful because if you do it wrong, then the referees will give you a warning. So, Juliana. So, if they start first, you have another option. So, you're just going to mix it. Take a step back. This way. So, if she goes first, her leg is up. Okay, the only other option I have is to clash. So, to clash, here. So the only way you can do this properly is if you don't move. Use their movement for your advantage. But if I move, she wins. This leg stays. So this leg at the back stays, it does not move. I don't shift. So I use kind of like a leg swing, so side rising kick, you know when you're warming up for leg swings? If you move, then the other person wins or I will get a warning. I stay here. So this is the second way to be on the top. But the principle is the same. You must always be on the top. And it's not about the techniques. I don't want to, it's not about the techniques, but it's about the principles of how you do things. That's more important than sparring.
The question is about we have to stand the kick just right, or we can do a turn kick. Oh.
Turning takes too long. So straight line. Straight line is the fastest way. Straight line is fastest. It works is because so you're here and they move to your place. So that's the only reason it works is because it gives you some extra time to just go on the top. So as they move, you get to go up. If they don't move, it doesn't work. That's why you must stay. So next then I want to talk about one other thing, and I'm going to show you ways that you can practice this for real without just drills. When you use side kick, there's two things that you must know. So the rule is, if the Yop Chagi is high section, so like shoulder to head, you must come under, so low. If it's high, you go low. If it's middle, you go up. So for example, I go above. If it goes high, I come under. Another very important principle for ITF sparring. If you're attacking, you must also know this, but also for you to be on the reverse, to be a counter-attacker, it's also important. If she goes middle, and I go middle, here.
Can you repeat again, please?
If she goes middle, and I go low, she wins. This is for straight line, so when we talk about side kick in a straight line. Yeah, and then also if they go high, it's the same way. So if they go high and I go high, they're going to win because they're first. So it goes back to the first idea. Because they are first, they will win if you do the same. So these are two very important ideas for side kick. If you understand these and practice them, the principles, then you will do really, really well with your side kick. So this is more about higher level than kids, but this also is the same for kids. If you can understand this, okay, then you're on the right path. So then to practice this, we don't do it like a drill where you try, I try, you try, I try. This is okay at the very beginning, but at a low level. So real combat and sparring training requires good decisions. You don't make any decisions when you kick the bag.
No tomamos.
No real decisions, at least. To train correctly for sparring, I believe that both people should have a task, a job, an objective. Of course, this is very, very basic and very simple level 1. The more that the coach understands ITF sparring, they can include other ways to train, such as I can include a ring size. So if you leave the ring, you also score a point. I can add on punches, add on spinning techniques. So the more principles of how to win, the better. So now they're learning real positions and real thinking of real sparring. It's not where their brain is switched off because they're just punching, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick. They have to make active decisions, which is very important. So I can give you an example of another level that we can increase to include the principles, the 2 principles we talked about earlier of being first, and also to include the upper levels versus under, and upper versus, middle, go above, high, go under. So this time only Yop Chagi again. You cannot make the same level 3 times in a row. So if you go middle, 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 that's a foul. Second part,
Y la segunda parte,
if they make contact with their foot on the other person, so it doesn't have to be a point, but a contact, so a touch, anywhere.
si es que hace contacto,
Allowed to make a punch, 1 or 2. Okay, so this is how I believe is the correct way to train for sparring. A lot of other sports that aren't martial arts train this way. But martial arts, because we see a lot of combination training on videos and boxing and things like this, this is not how we train. So there's just one thing I want to talk about on the Yop Chagi that's important before we move on. Again, you'll notice this is a principle rather than a special technique or a fancy drill or exercise. And this is especially important if your sparring stance is both the same direction. So if she has right leg, I have left leg. A lot of people, when they make the side kick, they will make a side kick here and they will drop their foot in a straight line as you drop. Now this is a problem for sparring because my body position is trapped. I cannot punch correctly. And you will end up like this, which is no good.
no está bien tirarme de esa forma.
So to go from Yop Chagi, because we are facing this way, this is the reason. If you're like this, it's not a problem. But then your Yop Chagi isn't the same, because you're here instead of here. It's very important that after you make a Yop Chagi and you want to punch, that you have to put this leg on the outside. Here. Okay, and then I can punch correctly.
Por eso, en esa
Also why posture is important. Because if I go Yop Chagi here, and now I want to punch, I have to come up. If she's tall, she wins. So, we'll just do one more. So then to put this into practice, for example, only side kick, Yop Chagi and punches. These students will learn if they're making the mistake. So if they get caught, they understand why. And then they can adjust correctly.
sí,
It will be because of the other person or something that is in the environment. It won't be because she is practicing and everything is perfect. When you go to real life situation, it's not so simple. So then it's more realistic. So now I'm looking to see, do they get trapped? Does this happen where they don't have any correct balance? Alright, you get the idea? So these girls are now linking their Yop Chagi with how to change, when to change, and when they don't have to change. And after a while, a lot of this information becomes some subconscious in their mind, so they don't really have to worry too much after a while, because they know when to change based on the perception.
sí.
So this is the real type of muscle memory, not hit the pads, hit the pads. This is not the real muscle memory. People get confused. Any questions on the sparring side? And if we have some time at the end, I can answer some more questions, but if people want to learn about the flexibility, I can do that now. Perfect. So as I said, because of the way that the training is, sparring training is more mental learning, and so you can develop what you know about ITF sparring. And then you can go and train it, the ways I have showed you how to go train. There is no special drill or special exercise. These are just fancy things that people like to see on Instagram and YouTube. So the basics are the most important thing to get right. So once you have the good basics, then that's a good place to be. It's not about having the fancy spinning techniques and all of this. So the only secret, it's not a fancy exercise or fancy technique, it's how to train correctly. Okay, so we'll take a look at some flexibility things. Like the exercise that we did earlier with half Yop Chagi chamber position for high knee and straight leg, same position. She turns to the bent leg, so it's the same as this rather than this. At the end of the session, you can hold your stretches a little bit longer. If you have something or somebody to help you passively stretch, it is much better because you get to go into your passive range that you can't hold by yourself. So you get to go into a new range. Your partner will pull your foot, they work with you, so they pull, and then they hold for 10 seconds. Your partner will pull your foot, they work with you, so they pull, and then they hold for 10 seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now they go further again. Difficult to do this by yourself. It's good to have a partner or have something that extends your range for you. And pull again. And now she's at her limit, so now she's getting a real stretch. So you can do this with all of the stretching types, not just this one. So side splits, front splits, you can use the same principle. Like I said, I wanted to talk about the principles, not anything special, not one special thing. So then there's two pieces to this. So you have first flexibility, so the range, and then being able to be strong and control in this range. So she makes Yop Chagi as high as possible. And it's important you see her standing leg is turned. And also everything is in a straight line, so straight line from her head to her foot. And brings it as high as possible, keeping this good technique. 10 seconds or something like that, then the person leaves go, and they must hold this position without it leaving or dropping. You go even higher than the last time, so now it's extra. And then you go and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and up again. And relax. Good. So this is the idea. Once you have the range and you can hold strong in this range, then it's important that you can use to passively extend this range. Because our passive, I don't know if the term is translatable for you for passive. So your passive range must be higher than what you can kick. So your full range must be more than your highest kick, because you have to be able to hold it in that range, which makes the level decrease. Perfect. So is there anything else, any questions or anything that you want me to talk about that we didn't do today, or any questions from anybody? At the beginning of training should be your dynamic, so movement flexibility. At the end of training, then you can hold it for a little bit longer, because it takes your muscles time to recover. If you do this at the beginning, then your explosiveness and your speed will not be the same. It takes you time to recover after you stretch the muscle.
Stretching, do you recommend doing it once a week, or every time you train, finish with a passive stretching?
Good question.
Like every day, for example?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it every day. I would allow some. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. So yeah, I would like to do that. Maybe not every session, but 2 to 3 times a week would be good. Of course, it depends on what else you do. Some people at the high level they do lots of training, so it really depends. The answer is not really simple. It depends how many times you train and things like that.
Regarding the last question about flexibility, how much should we stretch passively after the training? How much should we stretch so that we can see better flexibility because we have to stretch a lot, but how much is the most effective time to stretch? How much should we do it?
Again, it's a hard question to answer because a lot of time in training you might have 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, and the coach wants to get in a certain amount. So if you're training by yourself, of course, it can be different. But I would like, generally, from my own classes, I would like to spend maybe 10 minutes at the end of the class on flexibility and stretching, and I would like to get all planes or muscle groups, if that makes sense. So like the Yop Chagi plane, the front rising kick plane, and then you have a plane behind you as well. So they're the three main planes or lines that we use in Taekwondo. So that is quite important.
Question about in the last exercise, with stretching exercise that you did, how is the position of your body? Is all in the same in the same line, or there is a part of the body that you can move to not to the center of the or move back, for example? Can you show that technique?
The stretching technique at the back?
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah, so your head, shoulder, hip, knee, and foot should all be in one straight line. This is for the flexibility more, like and more like for pattern and for technical Taekwondo. For sparring, it's a little bit different, of course. As you can see, the foot here is in a straight line and it goes all the way up to the head.
Okay. What about the other one? When you lean at the floor, the other one?
Yeah, I would try to keep it the same as best as possible, the straight line.
Okay.
Because if you leave the straight line for stretching and flexibility, it means there's another muscle that's taken over the job that should keep your body in good posture. Naturally, we should always want to have good posture, because that's the way our body is designed. Our body isn't designed to be in this position.
The exercise of elongation you can do at the beginning or end of training.
At the beginning of training,
At the beginning of the end of training.
yeah, I would like to do this at the end. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Master.
Thank you, Master.
So we can close the session. Richie, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody.
For all your team, for the support for this region. So we hope that we meet
We hope to have another chance to have another session with you, Richie.
Sure.
We have more to learn from you, for your team, and hope to see you very soon.
Yeah. Best wishes to everybody. I hope everybody is keeping safe and healthy. Thank you for the opportunity and everybody for your participation. And also, big congratulations to the work that you guys are doing in Paraguay and South America to further develop ITF Taekwondo. So great job, well done, and thank you very much, everybody.